Welcome back to Podcast Demastered. This is our first episode of 2022. Can you guys believe
Crazy.
that? Woohoo! Yes.
What the heck?
And I'm Chelsea, and I'm joined by my good friends Ethan and Wade. And this episode, it's a little cheesy, a little fun, full of everything nerdy. We're going to be talking about resolutions. You know, just the perfect way to kick off the new year.
It's so unexpected.
Diving right into the fad.
No one saw it coming.
Nope.
Not one.
At all. Yep. And I feel like we kind of teased it in our last episode in a bit by talking about, some of our most anticipated things. So we're just going to roll into, kind of goals, New Year's resolutions, anything like that related to entertainment. So do you guys have any specific goals, loose goals, and things you hope to accomplish related to movies, TV, games, anything like that?
Yeah, I got a few here, but Wade, you want to start us off?
Sure. So
you don't have to read all of them. We could.
No, it's all good.
We can go back and forth.
Yeah, we could do like a round robin thing.
Yeah.
My biggest one, and it's something that I get onto myself for all the time, but it's starting games and not finishing them.
Yeah.
Or taking forever to do it. I'll start one game and then I'll like it, and then I'll go ahead and start 5 more.
Yeah.
And I'll move on from them too. I'm just bad about ending games. So one of my things is I would like to finish the games that I have started.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Dude, I have that problem now, especially with a Game Pass. Because I see so many things come on there. I'm like, ooh, I want to try this out, and I'll get through a tutorial or get 30 minutes in, and I'm like, ooh, I want to see this, and I start another thing, and I have 30 games that I've started and haven't put any serious time in any of them. I'm also like that with books. I think right now on my shelf I have 7 books that I've started and I haven't finished them.
Yeah, I do that. I've got one on my nightstand and 3 in my little cabinet under my nightstand.
Yeah.
That all have bookmarks in them and everything.
I definitely go through phases with books where I'm like, all right, I want to read something fantasy, and that'll last a month. And then I switch over to nonfiction, and then I'll read that, and then I switch back, and if I'm not done with the book, it's I'll come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't haunt you.
No, not at all.
Mia does. I feel guilty as hell about
me. I feel like I have to finish them. Yeah.
I definitely have that problem more with games over books. I've been reading, we all know this, but I've been reading it for 5 years, and it doesn't bother me at all. It's kind of like a tradition at this point that I only read in October, so. And I have another book that I started 3 years ago, and I pick up every now and again. It's nonfiction, and it's very dense, so I kind of I'll read a little bit, and then I kind of get, ready to move on. So I try, put it away and come back to it a year later or whatever. But yeah, with games, it drives me crazy having so many games that I've at least put some decent time into, and then they just sit there. So
yeah. Well, Wade, so since you said that you have a lot of games that you need to finish, do you have one that you've started on or one you've recently finished or anything? What are your goals? Do you have a particular order for them?
Yeah, what are your top 3 backlog games?
Yes.
I do have an order right now, and I feel good about it because I did finish the first one over break. I finished Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah. Nice.
I only started that right after Thanksgiving, so I feel pretty good about that. Really, it took a whole 4 days to beat. It wasn't that terribly long.
Yeah.
But I did it, and it was wonderful, and I'm glad that I did it. Next on my list, technically next, is Mass Effect.
Oh,
all 3 games.
We'll check back in the summer.
Yes.
That may not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's gonna be something, but I'm hoping if I can try to get a start back into it early this week, then it won't be such a big deal for me to like jump into it when I feel like it. Because sometimes I'm like, man, I haven't played this game in a long time. I guess I better start over so I know what's going on.
Yeah.
But it just kind of like creates the loop, you know?
Yeah.
But if I can get it going again soon, I think I can keep it going. So we'll see. And then after that, I do have Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if that's going to be like the next game after Mass Effect.
All long games. No.
Yeah, dude, that game's like 200 hours.
God. Well, Wade, I know how you were saying that if you wait too long to complete a game, that you sometimes feel like you have to start over. And I definitely did just start over on a game yesterday. It's my big game of the year.
Oh no.
Yeah, can I guess? Can I guess?
Yes, guess.
Is it Red Dead Redemption 2?
That is correct.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm gonna go for it. It's gonna take me forever, but it's, it's been in my backlog for a while, been haunting me. I had put in it was only a couple hours, so I actually did restart it yesterday, and I'm already back to the part I was before, so I'm ready to go for this long adventure.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's not so bad. I've seen Red Dead Redemption on sale for like $20 a few times in the last couple months, and there's been times I'm like, should I? I'm like, no, of course not. Don't do it. Like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah, no. Finish your other games first.
Like the Western aesthetic, the cowboys and stuff. That's not me anyway. So I feel like I would buy it and I'd start it and I'd be like, and then I like wouldn't play it anymore.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's
I need
not
like
a
Skyrim
game.
or something.
It's definitely not a game for you. I would say. having played.
Well, keep telling me that then.
Yeah, don't buy it.
So
No,
I don't buy it.
Nope.
Okay, cool.
Definitely
Get back
don't
to
buy
Mass
it.
Effect.
It's not a Wade game.
That one's for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
That game's for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. It's a very tedious game, but it's a very good game. Well, it's a very good story. I don't know if the gameplay is probably the worst part about it because it's very
Yeah.
it's kind of it's kind of a awkward game to play. Just based on how realistic they try and make it and like all the mundane things and all the tedium it kind of pushes you through to achieve that realism. In terms of like doing it all with a controller, it just doesn't make for a super fun experience all the time. But you want to keep doing it because the story and the characters are so well realized. And if you even remotely like Westerns, it's like a must play. But if you don't even like Westerns, I don't, just stay away from it. Like I would recommend it if it was at least fun to play, but it's not even like super fun to play. Like,
it's
difficult.
It's just like the whole Western cowboy aesthetic, that whole like thing. It's never really resonated with me.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's probably because
Westerns,
that's a little too close to like reality for me. There's nothing fantastical about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
not at all.
It would not be amazing to live in that time period. Like, you would be dead like every 10 seconds. So, no, thank you.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The controls are definitely a lot to learn. I'm glad I restarted the game because I definitely needed a refresher on that. It was also good for the story because when I think I picked it up tried to play a little bit of it early last year, and I was like, what is going on in this story? What did I just do? Why did I didn't mean to kill all those people. What's going on? So
Oh god.
Yeah, that's another thing is like you're basically like playing you're a gang, like you're villains, you're not good people. So
no, that part's a little rough to deal with for me.
And it definitely pushes some of those boundaries as the game progresses. So
I'll be going through them for most of this year. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I will complete this game.
But I mean, Chelsea, for you, I mean, you've played Last of Us and Last of Us 2, so this is in terms of like atrocities. Like, you've been through that shit.
I've been through so much.
Yeah, so you'll be fine.
Yep.
Keeping the game resolutions talk going. I kind of have sort of a backlog one where I would like to try and get my PS4 working again.
Yes.
So I can finish my PS4 games and then finally retire that console.
That's a good goal.
I've I need to finish God of War. I have Uncharted 4 that I still haven't even launched. I have Red Dead Redemption 2 on there. I have Death Stranding. I have Days Gone. I have Ghost of Tsushima. Like, most of these games I haven't even, like, launched or installed fully.
Those are some long ones.
Yeah.
Some of them I think I'm going to hold off on until I eventually get a PS5 in a few years. Games like Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding, I may just hold out and play the director's cuts on a newer console, because I don't care about the fidelity changes, but since they add more story and more actual gameplay, it kind of makes me want to just wait. Like, the Ghost of Tsushima director's cut has a whole other island and way more story stuff going on. Same with Death Stranding, it adds a whole nother, way more chapters and kind of fills in a lot of the gaps. So those two I may just wait. Wade, kind of like you, I've contemplated getting Red Dead Redemption 2 when it's on sale, but for my Xbox, just for the simple fact that those loading screens can be the fucking worst.
Oh my gosh.
So I would...
Is it like how Skyrim used to be?
Yes, 1000% yes. And seeing as my console's already on its last leg, I'd rather just spend $20 and get it again and just not have loading screens on a newer console, or at least 3-second loading screens, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm paying for a convenience at that point, but it might be worth it for a game like that.
Hey, I've done that before. I've not felt bad about doing that. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I do want to finish for sure God of War, Uncharted, and Days Gone. Just because I've had, God of War and Uncharted, I got them at launch when they came out, and I still haven't beat them. So it's just one of these things that I feel like it's, it's like the last gen stuff that I just want to kind of wrap up so I can fully invest in this newer generation. So yeah, that's one of my gaming resolutions this year, is to try and just knock out all this Sony stuff so I can finally just retire that console, put it on a shelf, admire it from afar.
That's a pretty good. It's a pretty good resolution, though.
Yeah,
it is.
I do have another gaming one, but not to take up all the airspace. Wade, do you have another? You got another one?
Yeah, I actually have one. I want to start or play or beat some older games that I haven't gotten to play before, like older games. Like, for instance, I just bought the Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster on my iPad. And on my way to St. Louis today, I played it for like a half hour maybe. But I've always wanted to play Final Fantasy V, and I've got it like 2 other different ways probably. But not on mobile. I'm like, well, maybe this will be it. Maybe I'll stick to it. But then that, and then also Chrono Trigger. Yeah. Another old JRPG.
Are you going to hold out to see if the rumors are true for the remake and just play the remake?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because I'll play Final Fantasy V first, and God knows how long that'll take. So who knows? I have a feeling that Square might be having one of their direct kind of things. I can't remember what Square Enix Presents, maybe. I think that's what they call them. Because they're gonna have more 16 stuff coming soon. And then there's a good few games that have been pretty hard rumored to be getting remakes or some remasters.
Yeah.
And like they don't, that we know of, they don't really have anything on the docket. Like we know Forspoken's gonna come out, but that's gonna be out pretty soon.
Yeah.
They have the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. That's probably slightly more down the line, but not by much, probably. They have some things coming. March is Kingdom Hearts' 20th anniversary. And we know they already have a lot of stuff planned for March. We don't know any of it, really. But they keep telling us that... Oh, God, I know.
I'm sure it involves NFTs.
Ethan,
Hopefully
I don't want to
more than
hear
just
that out of your mouth
NFTs.
again. Get out. You're fired. Never again.
Whatever Square Enix presents is going to be, it's going to be a huge showcase for all their NFT plans.
Go die.
All the Keyblades.
Oh, okay, I'll pay for this.
Sure.
Does that mean I
nice.
get my own personal Keyblade? Like, it's mine. Nobody else can use it. It's mine. They can make NFTs if I get my own Keyblade.
There we go. Now Wade
And
is
nothing
pro
else.
NFTs.
Nothing
Yeah, you heard
else.
it here
Absolutely nothing else. Oh, this is great. There's already stuff going on in the Final Fantasy XIV community. Where like healers have this ability called Rescue, where you can target a person like in a fight and like pull them towards you to like pull them out of harm's way, kind of. And there's so many people that are going like Square. If you put NFTs in 14, and then players, if you buy those NFTs and you're like using them like in fights, which would be like aesthetic stuff, you know. I will pull you into every single attack that I can. Like, you will not play the game anymore. And I'm just like, yes! People who play 14, they don't want it. They don't want anything to do with it all, so.
I'm like, who asked for this?
Nobody does.
Yeah.
Nobody wants this, but companies see money and they're like, oh, okay.
Gamers
But
didn't ask.
it's not even working because Ubisoft launched their NFT quartz or whatever the shit on Breakpoint, which
Whatever
is also,
the shit, indeed.
which launching it on Breakpoint is telling that they don't have a whole lot of faith in this anyways, because that's like a dead game for them. So, but like someone put up a chart on like how many purchases have been like made through this quartz platform, and it's like minimal to nothing.
Seriously,
nobody.
It's gonna
fucking
freaking
wants
crash
this.
and burn, and it better. Some asshole's gonna come out of the blue and make something somewhat successful, and it's gonna ruin everything.
I mean, there's definitely platforms out there that I think people will like your Call of Duties and your Fortnites. I think
Like your
there's enough
bros.
There's enough whales and I'm just saying like those kind of games kind of attract the kind of person that wants to spend a lot of money on cosmetic, like streamers and shit. Like it's built for that community where they can say like, "Oh, hey, watch my Twitch because I have this NFT of Cloud's hair that only I can have." You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was just an example.
Can I make enough disgruntled noises? Can
But it's
I?
like-
Because I can.
Yes.
It's set up for like that kind of community.
Not every game
And since it
needs
hasn't,
Yeah.
since it hasn't, like, no one launches a platform for those games yet. Like, I'm sure it's in the works, it's in the pipeline. But like doing this stuff on, Ghost Recon Breakpoint and then Stalker 2, and then that immediately gets pulled, and now Square saying they're going to do it for their, potentially their JRPGs. It's like, these are the wrong avenues to put NFTs in.
Seriously. Like, somebody made a really good point today I saw on Reddit. Like, if Square decides to do it, now it's not even Square, it's like the damn CEO. In his statement about it, like, everything was so, like, ass backwards anyway. Like, where are you getting this stuff from? But anyway, somebody was like, if you take it and put this into, like, your mobile games, like, your mobile-ish games that, like, already attract the whales and the stuff like that, the money potential, fine. If you must, put it in there. But, like, don't look at a AAA title. Yeah. And go, you know what this needs? Because it doesn't. They don't
You know
belong.
what it needs? A secondary market.
Son of a...
That has never worked. Like, look at last gen, all the games that got destroyed for just having loot boxes in their single player games.
Seriously, well, those minor gambling laws, they're coming in strong.
Especially in the
And
EU.
I support that. Oh, they're done in the EU. Like, they've been settled there for a long time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, which is kind of a big market for Square Enix proper, because they have a lot of developers in Europe that couldn't capitalize on that. So,
For sure.
so I don't know. I think this fad was not. It's just getting started, but I think it's gonna die a horrible death.
Good.
You know what I
We'll
mean?
all watch it burn together. It'll be great.
Because nobody fucking wants it. The community at large does not want it. I'm sure there's people out there who, because there's people already buying NFTs of like monkeys stickers or whatever the fuck stupid nonsense. Like, there's people out there buying this shit, but when the vast majority don't want it, like there's no lasting power for it. So
It's just
in my opinion.
And if you go deeper than that, like, the resources that it takes to keep those things up and running is so like damaging to like the planet itself. So it's like, I don't know.
One of the
like,
funniest things.
I feel
about
like I've seen this movie so many times.
Yeah.
Like, Square Enix, Final Fantasy VII is about destroying the planet because of technology. Like, hello, hi, you wrote the book. Why are you doing this?
Works so well.
How ironic would it be if they introduced NFTs in part 2 of Final Fantasy VII?
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, there's gonna be a real life avalanche, and God knows what's gonna happen after that.
They're their own villain.
It's almost too perfect. I kind of want it now.
No.
The headline writes itself.
Oh.
Awful. Just awful. Anyway, we stumbled down some territory there. Let's get back to our optimistic and positive
Yes.
resolutions. Chelsea,
Wade.
why don't you tell us one?
Sure. I mean, just to finish up, I think I just had an extra thing to say about video game related, resolutions and stuff. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a big one that will take a very long time, a good chunk of this year. But then I do plan to play Guardians of the Galaxy. I did get that for Christmas. And then
Yay!
another run through of the Mass Effect trilogy. So,
Oh, you should play with me.
yes.
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have the Legendary Edition?
Yes, I do.
Or are you just gonna? Oh, nice. Nice.
Ethan, go get the Legendary Edition.
Yes. We'll play together.
Yeah!
It's not that I don't want to replay it, but I told myself that I never
Ooh,
would.
there's that negativity.
It's not negative. I
No.
want to live with the choices I
No.
made.
No.
I'm not serious.
We want
I
you
don't
to
wanna
change
go
your
back and-
choices.
Yeah, I don't want to go back and feel like I'm righting a bunch of wrongs, because I made a lot of wrongs. And I feel like I should live with that as a person.
Oh, no.
I mean,
So
That's unfortunate.
I'll hold out for Mass Effect 4 for redemption.
there we go. Well, Ethan, do you have any other video game related resolutions?
Yeah, I actually have 2 more. So I'll go with this. This one's a little bit more open-ended, I guess. One thing I would like to do is I would like to play one game outside of my comfort zone, outside of my normal realm of games that I choose to engage with. I like third-person action adventures. I like shooters. I kind of stick to that realm a lot. I play a lot of different games, but more often than not, I will kind of gravitate more towards that stuff. So, and there's so much different genres out there that I don't really like. If I've had played a game, it's been a long time. So I would like to try and broaden my horizons a little bit, especially since I have Game Pass. There's a lot of options on there, and I would just kind of like to dive into more stuff that I wouldn't necessarily wouldn't necessarily do if I actually had to like pay full price for the game, I guess. Like Game Pass is essentially like a rental service, so it's so it kind of makes it a little bit more. It's easier for me to be like, oh, I'll try this out, as opposed to like if it came out, I'm like, I'm not spending $60 on this. I don't even think I'll like it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I've been eyeing the Yakuza series, just because it has prominence in gaming, and I've heard a lot of good things about the series. But just looking at it from afar, I know it doesn't ever look like anything that I would enjoy. But I kind of feel like I kind of want to jump in just to try it, because I've never actually tried it. So I may try. I may start Yakuza. I think 7 Year of the Dragon, since that's kind of like a change in the series, new characters, new storyline, new gameplay. So I think I might just start there. And that's definitely a game that I would never like think to play in normal circumstances. So yeah, something like that. Like trying to play more variety of things. Like I do that a lot with like indie games and stuff, and like little small bite-sized experiences, but I want to try and dive into something that might be a little like a 40, 50, 60 hour game, but it's something that I would never have thought that I would have liked or would have tried in any other circumstance. My last gaming one is this coming year. I would like to try and rekindle my love for my Nintendo Switch as a console for indie titles. I used to play the Switch all the time, and I pretty much primarily just used it for indies. I think the only 2 Nintendo games I've ever played on it were Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. And I just finished Odyssey last year, and I've never finished Breath of the Wild, and I'm fairly certain I never will. But I do love using that specific console just to play smaller indie games. I still have a lot on there. But ever since I got my Xbox, the poor guy's just been sitting on my shelf collecting dust, just like my Vita did so long ago.
Ooh, the poor Vita. That poor guy never stood a chance.
No.
Yeah, and I kind of used that for the same thing. I used it and I played a lot of like indie games on it. You know, like, these like little more handheld kind of things. Like I like playing these little small experiences on them. Something I can just like lay in bed or lay on the couch and play a little bit of, and I don't have to be like fully engrossed in like a AAA experience or something, you know?
Yeah.
So I still have probably a dozen or so games on my Switch that I haven't even started. So I would like to kind of get back into it, because I do, you know, I enjoyed my time with that console. Setting aside my stuff with Nintendo and all that, but I do really like the Switch. It's just like a device for gaming, you know. so yeah, that's my last gaming related one.
Very nice. Looks like there's lots of different things we want to do this year, lots of changes, or, you know, digging up old games, old systems. We'll be in for a ride.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully I have enough time.
We can at least just try. That's all that counts.
Hey, I've already finished 3 games, so
Well, there you go.
two of them are cheats. So I already started my new list for 2022 like right after we recorded that last episode. So technically it was still in 2021, but whatever, I don't care.
Nice. Well, I finished a game yesterday, so before I started Red Dead Redemption 2. Actually,
What'd you finish? Did you finish Infamous?
Yeah, I played it a second time. I platinumed it.
Nice.
Honestly, like that's a fun game to platinum, because a lot of the collectibles and stuff to go after, like the game's really fun to play and to maneuver around the world. So I can see the platinum being fun to try and go after.
It was interesting and kind of painful playing evil So, but a little bit fun at the same time. But that was interesting. It was interesting to see the differences in the story and everything. So that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Good games. We need more Infamous. We need more
I
Infamous.
know.
in our lives. That's a cool series.
yeah, it's been a while. Don't know if they'll make another one though.
Yeah, I don't know. That's Sucker Punch, right? So they just did Ghost of Tsushima, and it's rumored they're doing a sequel. So who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows?
might be a while. Well, do you guys want to move on from games? And is there any other? Do you guys have any goals or resolutions, whatnot, for books, movies, TV shows?
I have
Anything
one
I have
for
a
books.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a boring one for books.
I do too.
Mine's probably, and maybe ours is all the same, but I want to read more. That's something that's not comics, because I read comics like weekly, like very, very often. But it takes a lot for me to like feel relaxed and like I don't have much to do right now enough to pick up a book during the school year. When I start reading, I always get real antsy, like uncomfortable, like why am I doing this? I should be doing so many other things. And then I'm not good at being like, no, you can lay there and read a book. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I'd like to try that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Do you have any books in mind that you want to start? Or like a series or anything? I'm assuming
No.
you're talking fiction.
Yeah, I don't really have well, not really. I got out the first Aragon book a few months ago.
Yeah.
That might be a little too big. That's 4 books. That might be too much for now. But I have little things here and there. I bought a book. It's a Japanese novel, but it's called Penguin Highway. I got that at the like 50% off hardcover sale for like $9. I was like, okay.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Don't ask me what it's about yet. I know it became a movie in Japan. Like they turned it into a movie. But I don't really know much about it other than that. There is penguins in it. I know that.
Oh, really?
Oh, and I guess I want to finish my Darker Shade of Magic series. So there's that. That poor book is always in my backpack though. We read with my 6th graders every Wednesday. We have drop everything and read day. And if I can get the kids read, it's like 20 minutes. Like it's not a big deal at all. They make it a big deal because they're 12, but you know, how dare you make me read for 20 minutes? If everything goes well and I get them reading and it's quiet, I'll go to my backpack and I'll pull my book out and I'll get to sit in my chair and read for 15 minutes or so. But that doesn't happen every week, unfortunately.
Well, hopefully in the summer you'll be able to knock out a series or something.
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. That's
You
a
know,
long
it's kind of
ways
like the
away.
worst time to like want to be cooped up and reading. Like winter is like the best time for reading. 'Cause it's...
Yes, that's very right.
Chelsea, what about you?
Yeah, I in general definitely want to read a couple books this year. I do actually have a goal. I do want to read 5 actual books. You know, a big difference from last year where I read 0 books, but
The feels.
I have a nice pile going on my shelves of books that I've accumulated over recent years, and I just need to go for them and read them. I don't know what I'm going to read first, but I just plan to get going with that. We'll see how it goes, but I will be reading books this year.
Are they all fiction?
No, actually, I think
I
a
was gonna say, you got
couple.
some-
Yeah.
You had that history book, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I have that, and then I have some screenwriting books that I've gotten in recent years.
Nice.
So I'm going to read those. And then definitely some fiction in there, because I have plenty of those too. So yeah, I guess I'll actually have a mix this year, which will be very different for me to read nonfiction.
Very cool. Yeah, mine. I read 8 books in 2021, so my resolution, for 2021, I had the goal to read 5, and I read 8. So this coming year, my goal is to read 8, and maybe I'll read 10. I don't know.
Sounds good.
There you go. Reasonable. Completely
yes.
reasonable.
Like I said, I have so many books on my shelf already. Some started, some not. I would say 90% of them are nonfiction. That's kind of more my go-to. I find it really hard to get into fiction unless it's a series that I'm like really invested in, and I just can't find a lot of good fiction series anymore. I also don't look that hard, so if listeners out there have like their favorite series or something, you know, you can send those my way, because I'm always looking to get into more fiction. It's not like I don't like it. It's just I prefer nonfiction. I also took advantage of that Barnes & Noble sale. I had a gift card from the holidays, so I got 3 books.
Nice.
That I bought. All of them are... Well, 2 of them are nonfiction. One's fiction. One of them... the fiction one is part of the Witcher series, which I've been reading. But I only have the first 2 books, and I think it's like 5 books in the series, 7 total, with like 3 of them being like side story kind of spin-off stuff. I'm just gonna read like the main line overarching narrative. So I got book 3 for that, and then I got Jason Schreier's book Press Reset, which is about the video game industry, and this one, it focuses more on like the turmoil and like how like recent studios in the past couple of years have like closed, and a lot of it's kind of more shedding light on more, I guess, some of the bad stuff and the negative stuff that's happened, and how the video game industry needs to, like, not necessarily change, but kind of change, and evolve a little bit for like to progress in a more positive light. So I'm really eager to start that. And then of course I got Hideo Kojima's book, The Creative Gene. So I can't wait to get that in and read that. But yeah, kind of a boring resolution just to read 8 books. I never really set goals where I'm just like, I have to read like, you know, so many of this and so many of that, or I kind of just always set a number and then I just track it with Goodreads, because I'm that person. So
Hey, I have a Goodreads. I just haven't opened it in like 2 years.
It's been a while.
I go back and forth on it, because I think I have a few people on there that I've track, and one of them's my sister and the other one's my mom, and they usually set goals where it's like, oh, I read 50 books this year, and I'm just like, oh my, I read 4, you know. So it makes me feel bad as a person, so then I can stay off it for a while.
Oh.
But now realizing that I'm not in the competition, so now I just like it for just the tracking for it, I guess.
Yeah.
I like to be organized. I do that with my movies too. I use Letterboxed, and every time I watch a movie, I catalog it. So
Nerd.
Yeah, I'm like.
Well, do you have any movie-related goals then? Any must-watches this year?
So the only movie one I have is towards the end of last year. I really dove into the Criterion collection and wanted to watch a lot of like just old, like classic films from, you know, the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, like that kind of era.
Yeah.
And continuing on into this year, I would like to keep that going, and I would, if I had to put a number on it, like I would like to try and watch maybe like 30, 40 more like classic films. Not necessarily have to be in the Criterion collection, but like are either iconic for historical purposes or in the filming community or something like that. Like I want to try and keep that going, and watch and fill out my watch history of more like classic cinema, because I have a lot of blind spots in that realm, like stuff I know about and know why it's important and have studied and like read about, but I haven't actually sat down and like watched. So I would like to sit down and watch a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I totally get that. There's definitely I have a good long list of movies like that.
Yeah.
but I'll just take them at my own pace. I agree, you know. I'll say vaguely I'll probably want to watch a few of those this year. I don't have a set number or anything, but definitely some old movies, some new ones. Just
Yeah, I never really set a number for like films. And I watch a wide assortment of movies. Like out of everything, I feel like I have the broadest range of films that I'll watch. Like I pretty much will watch most anything to give it a chance, just because I like studying film. Like, you know, and you guys know, like I like studying on like a more like technical and level than anything else. So I kind of like to see, you know, like foreign films and animation and stop motion and, you know, this, that, and the other. Like I like to try and just kind of cast a wide net for films. But yeah, I never really set like a number of how many I want to watch in a year. I kind of just it usually end up watching quite a few. So like I thought this was like a slow year, and I still ended up watching like 60 something films.
yeah.
And that's films for like the first time. That's not including like rewatches of like stuff that just makes me feel good, or stuff that I watch with my son, and you know, because that number would be I don't even know. It's much bigger.
Too many to count.
So, yeah, too many. Yeah. But yeah, there's also a lot of stuff coming out next year that I'm pretty excited for. There's a lot of big tentpole films coming out, but there's also just like a lot of really cool indie stuff, and a lot of really good directors are finally coming out with some stuff next year. So it should be a pretty cool year for film. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah. Wade, what about you? Do you have any thoughts about any movies you want to watch this year?
When it comes to movies, no. I just kind of, I'm like, oh, I'll watch this movie. Okay, great. But no, they just kind of come and go for me. I don't have any real goals with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. Well, let's see. I know we've talked about a lot of entertainment goals. Are there any other ones we didn't cover that you guys want to mention?
It's not really an entertainment goal, but like a personal resolution I have is to potty train my son. He turns
That could be
2
pretty entertaining.
Oh man.
Yeah, it could be entertaining. It should be interesting. He turns 2 at the end of the month, so it's that time. So yeah, that's kind of going to be my 2022 is dealing with the terrible 2s and trying to potty train. So that's enough
Best
of a
of luck
personal
for you.
resolution. Yeah.
Right.
I think that's the only personal resolution I need is to just manage this. So
Just do it. Yeah.
it should keep me plenty busy.
I can imagine. Yeah.
But yeah,
I
that's-
have one smaller goal. I don't know how productive I'll be at it. But last year I bought a music production software.
Oh, that's right.
And this year specifically, I haven't really touched it a lot. Like learning how to use it and everything, it's not a small thing. Like when I first bought it, I sat down and I jumped headfirst into it. And I was doing some pretty cool things with it, but I haven't done that in quite a while. So like if I were to open it up now, I'd be like, I don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
But like some of the stuff I can do in it, like can be useful for like my guitar classes at the high school. And I'd like to be a little more proficient. So if I ever wanted to do something, I'd be like, oh, I know how to do that. I can just do it right now. But Lord knows, we'll see.
Yeah, man, I completely forgot you got all that.
Right?
Should be pretty cool.
At the end of the year, I'm gonna come back and we're gonna have DJ Wade make us some new podcast music.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be exciting. I hope he figures it out.
You can do it. I have faith
I'll
in
stay
you.
with him. I'll stay with you.
Please do. Somebody's got to.
I'll check in weekly.
Oh,
Oh no.
gosh. Weekly Wade check-ins.
Yeah, man, that's cool. That's cool
Wakely
though.
Wade
that-
check-in.
Yes.
I love it. Well, I'll try not to let you down, Ethan.
No, you,
Oh, you do you at
You
your
never
own
will.
pace. Yeah.
well, and that's kind of a good segue to the next thing that we were going to talk about. But you guys want to take a break before we hop into that?
Yes. Let's do that.
Sure.
All right, we're going to take a 2-minute break.
Welcome back to Podcast Demastered. And we're going to move on and talk about our hobbies. Now, I know we've kind of already talked about some hobbies in some ways. We've talked about our love of video games, our plans for the year with those, with movies, books, everything like that. But, you know, outside of the entertainment side, what are some other things that we're planning on doing this year, or things that we just enjoy doing outside of our homes? I guess.
Oh, okay, I'm
What's
already
that?
out of that conversation
what's that
because I
life
don't
like?
do that. I don't do that. We don't do that here, Chelsea.
I haven't left my home since
I do.
2015.
I can almost like second that
Yeah.
on Ethan's front. I can, yeah. But I mean, as far as hobbies goes, like, all sorts of nerdy things are my hobbies, but like, they stay in my house. And other than teaching, like, I don't get out a lot,
Yeah.
because that kind of leaves me pretty dead on the inside. So I need a lot of recoup time after that, which is where all this stuff goes, which is great.
Yeah, that's part
but
of
other than that, like, my hobby is living. You know, I'm pretty good at that for now.
I plan on practicing that hobby.
Yeah. I'll
Well,
keep
that's
that going
great.
for now.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to say outside of the home only. You know, there's
Oh.
plenty of other things.
no.
I wasn't meaning it like
No,
that.
it's not a
Oh, it's
it's not
too
a
late.
hobby.
It's
It's not
too
a hobby
late.
to Chelsea unless we're doing it in the wild.
No. I just meant outside of the video games and everything. Like, that's what I was
Yeah.
trying to say.
I mean, no,
But-
that's about it for me. Like,
But that is
I-
perfectly fine.
yeah.
Hey, besides
I
the fact that
do-
you're gonna start making
yeah.
music, that's
Yeah.
Oh, let's not get ahead of yourself now. We'll see.
I want a full
Hey, one
album
step
by
at a
the end of
time.
the year.
Bruh.
Or how about this? How about this? Since it's your first year, I'll just need an EP. How about that? 4 tracks.
Oh, just an EP. Oh,
Yeah,
All
just-
the tracks.
Yeah, 4 or 5
okay.
tracks.
All right, then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Looking forward to it.
You looking for like saying songs or like
Oh no, no,
like
no.
just
Whatever
some
you-
good
whatever you feel.
EDM kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
man, it's whatever you're gonna make.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
sell it on the Podcast Demastered storefront.
Oh, good.
Coming
We'll
soon.
make, we'll make dozens.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
It's possible. Yes.
Sell at least 2 copies.
Yes.
All right, Chelsea. I know you're dying.
my
I know
will be
you're.
one of those probably.
Yeah. I know Chelsea's dying to talk about her amazing hobbies that take her on far-reaching adventures. So,
I mean,
go
to
ahead.
be fair, Chelsea's got some badass hobbies.
She does have, yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
Well, of course.
Well,
So-
I do love staying in though, guys. I'm not hating on that at all. I love, you know, just staying home, doing whatever, playing games stuff, but I do love the outdoors. I do love to travel. That's just something that my weekends are for, traveling. During the week I stay home, but traveling is where it's at. My wife and I do have a goal. It's just kind of a long-term goal where we want to visit all 50 states. And we're hoping to add a couple states to our list this year. I don't know which ones specifically yet, but we'll hopefully have those plans soon. And while we travel, we do like to participate in this wonderful hobby called letterboxing. Now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to.
yeah, I'm like, now I sure nobody knows what
Yeah, I'm gonna have
letterboxing
to
is.
break that down in layman's terms.
Yes. So, which I'm guessing because neither of you have heard of Letterboxing. Well, I guess Ethan technically knows, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I still have a very tenuous grasp on the whole concept.
I'm listening wholeheartedly because I have
Okay.
no idea.
Well, I guess the first step to find out about what letterboxing is, I have to ask you guys, are you familiar with geocaching?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I would like to say letterboxing is way cooler than geocaching because it's basically was the first thing before geocaching existed.
Is it cooler
Elitism.
than Pokemon Go though?
Yeah, it's cooler. I think it's really cool. It's a very cool art scavenger hunt. It was actually created in the 1850s, so it's pretty old, in England, in Dartmoor, and this hobby is basically like, for all ages, a treasure hunt in the outdoors or even indoors, and it's basically where you follow any type of clue, and it takes you to a box or some type of thing that holds a stamp. Typically a hand-carved stamp. We're talking like rubber stamps that you like put on ink on them and stamp them into a book.
Yep.
And I know it's just really fun because it's really creative. People get really creative with the clues themselves. Sometimes they're very difficult, insane ciphers that you don't know what they are. Sometimes they're by like certain degrees, steps. You can find them. Sometimes they're in libraries. Sometimes they're in stores, like small stores, like with permission and stuff. And then a lot of times they're on trails and like different parks and everything like that. So you can find them anywhere. There's different websites for it. There's actually like one called like letterboxing.org, and then there's Atlas Quest where you can create an account. You create basically like a whole persona. You have like your own trail name, and you have like, you can keep track of all your finds. It's really fun. I love to carve stamps.
I was just getting ready to say, don't people like carve their own stamps? Like they don't just go to the store and buy like a variety pack. Like a lot of the people, like the real letterheads,
letterboxers, yes.
Yeah, the real letterboxers out there. Don't they carve their own stamps?
Yes, definitely. No, it's definitely the thing. It's definitely the approved thing to carve stamps. So one of the things, like, so with like geocaching, everything too, like there's like a logbook or something like that. So in letterboxing, there's like a logbook and like the box you find where you can kind of log that you were there, and you typically put in like a stamped image of your signature stamp. It's an image that you carve representing yourself or your trail name type thing. And so you leave that there, and then you stamp the stamp in from that box. Don't ever take the stamp. That's a big deal. We don't want to have stamps missing in the world. But you stamp it into like a piece of paper in your book or something like that, and then put the stamp back and hide it where it was placed. So
Very cool.
that is,
That's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. What was the last trip you went on that you guys did some letterboxing?
Oh, let's see. Last trip. I'm like, where did I go?
Didn't you guys go to the? When did you go out to like the Southwest? Was that last year or was that the year before?
Yeah, we went to Southwest, last year, and so we picked up a couple of letter boxes in a couple different states. There were some cool ones next to like some roadside attractions. There's like some really old, it's kind of like the oddities where there's like like old, like big old cowboy statue or something, and there's one near
the
that.
world's largest rocking chair.
Yes,
stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So that's fun, like little places where people like may typically plant a box or something, or any unique cemetery or a historical landmark of sorts, but not national parks. That's a big no. National parks, stamps aren't allowed there for various reasons. No, there were issues with it in the past, and I think it's because it's protected land. They don't want people digging around. And
no interference with things like that. So I get that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot about the whole burying of things.
Yeah, well, typically a lot of them aren't super buried, but yes, definitely, you have to hide it fairly well so people can't see it. But out west it was probably, I think, I've found boxes in probably almost every state I've traveled to.
Oh, cool.
It's our goal. Yeah. So we have a nice little collection. I do have So there's different types of stamps you can get. Like traditionals are the ones that are typically the ones that are found out in the world, and I am almost to 2,000 finds since I've started letterboxing.
Jeez.
So I am 2 away, actually. So it's very sad I missed it in 2021. So 2022, I'll definitely have that.
Is there like an upper echelon, like for letterboxers, like a club or whatever? You reach a milestone, you get like bottle service. You get access to like the cool kids club, like anything like that.
Well, there definitely is a Hall of Fame on one of the websites that
There you
does
go.
document
That's what I'm looking
the
for.
early. I mean, people have been letterboxing probably in the U.S. since like the early 2000s. And one of the biggest areas is actually the Northeast, where that's where it started in the U.S. And some people have like 10,000 plus finds, 15,000. They've been doing it forever. I've only been doing it since I think 2016. So,
what region are you
I
guys
have ways
thinking
to
of
go.
going to? Have you been to the Northeast?
No, that's actually an area haven't been to. Definitely want to check it out. I don't know if we'll go this year, but it's definitely on our list
Yeah.
of places. A lot of the East Coast. Like I've been to certain places on the East Coast, but as for like going together, we haven't done visited all those states. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot to hit there.
Awesome.
Yep. So that's my big old hobby. Does it make sense what I said? Wade?
No, I followed.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
crazy.
Yeah, it's a whole nother world, and it's definitely something that is definitely open to all ages. There definitely are a lot of people that are in the older demographic that do letterbox, like near us, because they have events and stuff. So it's definitely its whole thing where you go and people hang out.
Don't you
Find
host
boxes.
events?
I do host events.
There you go. Get that plug in there.
Specifically, we
Every
have
Tuesday night at
started
7.
No, that would be funny. No, we've started up like the virtual events. We've created these online experiences and stuff for letterboxers where they're all geared to like a particular storyline, and we have people solve clues, and then they get stamped like images and stuff. Like they can either have them like physical copies mailed to them or like emailed of various images that we carve. So that's big deal. But no, people have like events like in real life too, where you like at a particular park
kind of thing, or like stuff like that.
Yeah, like when you get together at a park and there's like a whole theme, and there's different trails and everything with different images related to the theme, and people have food, hang out, catch up. So
Well, you
it's a
definitely
whole other world.
You put Wade and I's hobbies to shame.
More or less. I don't have
trying to do
anything cool like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, man, I don't have any hobbies right now. Is being a parent a hobby?
It
It's a
can be.
full-time job.
It's more of a job. So it's definitely my full-time job. Not really a hobby, I guess. I don't do it for
Oh,
leisure.
maybe not yet.
Yeah.
Soon enough. Soon enough.
Yeah. I mean one
Speeches.
One thing I haven't done in years, and I guess I never really looked at it as a hobby, but I guess it kind of was making short films. I used to do that a lot. I used to write a lot of scripts, and then I used to go film them. But I was also back home, where I'm from, where I kind of had more of an established community of people that I knew. Because filmmaking is really hard. You try and do it by yourself. And where I'm at now, I don't really have that established foundation for like a community of people that I know to like go out and film stuff. And it happens to be the end of the world out there, so it's kind of hard to do stuff like that. But yeah, if I was to have a hobby or something outside of just reading and and watching films and playing games and whatnot, like I would like to try and make another short at some point. I haven't written anything in like 4 or 5 years. I haven't filmed anything that wasn't for a job in probably just as long. So all the stuff I shoot is like advertising and marketing, and it's like very stale and boring and not creative at all. So I would like to actually try and shoot something that's more an expression of me and more artistic, because it's been a long time. So I don't even know if I still have that skill set anymore.
Oh, I believe in you. You definitely do. I'm looking forward to see what you come up. I remember you working on your short films. I remember helping a little bit.
Yeah.
On a couple.
Yeah, it's been a long
Good
time. Maybe when my son gets a little bit older, I can try and get him to act in something.
Child actor.
Yeah, trying to do anything now with an almost 2-year-old is it's very difficult.
Have to get the potty training done first.
Yeah, maybe I'll make a documentary about potty training.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, that's really the only thing that I would have as like a quote unquote hobby is like filming. I don't really do a lot of photography. I know how, but I just don't like it. I don't like. My like focus in college was photography, but it was product. Like, and I actually like photographing product photography, or like doing product photography, because products don't talk back to you. They don't have schedules. You know, they don't have thoughts and opinions. Like, they just sit there and I could spend all day doing whatever I need to do to get that shot. Whereas dealing with people is like not my forte. So I never liked portraiture or senior photos or wedding photos or any of that kind of stuff. Like, none of that interests me as a photographer. And I don't really sit around my house do product photography either. I'm not, setting a banana on the counter and doing a cool shot for Instagram. Like, don't. None of that stuff interests me anymore.
That's what the people want.
Yeah. I don't even. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, if I was gonna do anything hobby related, I would definitely like to try and film something. But with anything, there's got to be like some sort of like creative inspiration, and I just haven't had that in a long time. So I'm just tired.
That's
just
fair.
tired all the time.
That's fair.
So just stick to books and games when I can, and we'll see what happens. It's a long year. There's a lot of time.
There is indeed.
There
a lot of time this year, so who knows? Anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll have a podcast demastered sponsored film. 5 years.
That would be amazing.
With music by me.
Dude. Now we're working.
That would be amazing.
And written by Chelsea. Boom.
Yes.
Done. All right.
There we go.
Stay tuned, folks.
It's happening. Yeah, stay tuned,
folks. You thought Doctor Strange was going to be the biggest film next year. Nah, not anymore.
Here comes our original podcast demastered one.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's really all I got. It's not as cool or as in depth or as Chelsea's, so I apologize.
No, I think that's great. I think hobbies are great. I think, everybody has different hobbies, and I was not trying to hate on any hobbies. I think that I love video games and movies.
We got her reeling.
And I think, yes, we're looking forward to a full year ahead, a full new year full of possibilities. And I think also lots of things coming everybody's way with the podcast, too.
Yep.
I think everybody should be on the lookout for plenty of new content. We're kind of starting off the year a little bit easy, but we'll have plenty of surprises later on in the year.
Oh, yeah. We got plenty of internal discussions for the podcast, so listeners out there, stay tuned. So, got a full year ready for you guys, so be ready.
And I think that'll do it for this week's episode.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yep.
Yes. Well, I want to thank everybody for listening to our first episode of 2022. And, be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. And, please share this podcast with friends, family, anybody that you think you might like this podcast. That would be great. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at poddemastered. And feel free to reach out to us via email at demasteredpodcast@gmail.com. And thanks again for listening, and we hope you tune in next week.